Alright, as you know, I rarely do two videos on a Sunday, but unfortunately, we're going to have to call out Spectrum News New York 1. Now, I'm just checking my mic here, because I could be a little bit paranoid knowing that my mic volume isn't the strongest. But yeah, that's a new feature OBS apparently has. But anyhow, um, look what's on the homepage. I mean, this morning when I was watching New York One, they did talk about what happened in Maspeth. Because I am just beyond disgusted that, you know, how in the world is it not on their um their website? You know, I really think that somebody at Spectrum News needs to be held accountable for at least not writing a web article about what happened with the drag racing that occurred in Maspeth. So, we're going to read the article from AM New York. All right, so the headline reads Queens lawmaker incensed after fiery car meetup in neighborhood demands arrest. We are not putting up with this garbage. Now, if you recall last year, we had a similar incident in Whitestone that made the news. In fact, that got a lot of attention, and it now proved that there was a similar thing, right? But Channel 7 did do a good job covering it. We'll find the ABC7 video in a little bit here, but you get the idea that New York One should have had an article on their website, let alone shown the video of Rocco's report, Rocco Boduccio, but no, they don't do that. So anyhow, let me just read the article from AM New York. So a Queens lawmaker is demanding that the NYPD arrest those connected to a massive and dangerous early morning car meetup that occurred yesterday morning on Saturday, April 18th, that showed drivers turn fiery tricks in the middle of the quiet Maspeth Middle Village neighborhood. The shocking incident unfolded at the intersection of 69th Street and Elliott Avenue on the Maspeth Middle Village boundary just before 2 a.m. early Saturday morning yesterday, when a bunch of amateur car enthusiasts decided to pull up a fiery stunt show. Yep, just like what happened in Malba. A video from the incident provided by local city council member Phil Wong, who recently succeeded longtime councilman Bob Holden, showed a massive ring of fire. Oh god, did they really have to reference Johnny Cash? Look what it says. Shows a massive ring of fire. Come on, you know they referenced Johnny Cash in this thing. But anyhow, showed a massive ring of fire in the middle of the well-known intersection in Maspeth, and drivers of vehicles performing donuts and other tricks around it. Dozens of people in their own cars gathered around the display, which was located near two gas stations. Now, I want to mention, this was hours before Maspeth Federal Savings Bank held their yearly shredding event. I wonder why they picked this random date then. The driver of one of the vehicles doing donuts around the ring of fire was seen raising a flag from Palestine outside the window. Again, I'm just quoting the article. This is not opinion. This is not, this is what they actually have on AM New York's website, which is the shared media company Schlepped at the Queen's Courier, by the way. A large horde of lookers could be seen running into the fire, holding their cell phones while the cars were narrowly missed mowing them down. Officers from the 104th Precinct rushed to the location, sending the car-driving mob flee. During the chaos, police reported 3 people involved jumped on the hood of a New York Police Department cruiser, NYPD, smashing the windshield. The suspects were ultimately able to escape into a car. Councilman Wong was incensed over the incident, demanding that those involved be found and taken into custody. The councilman was quoted to AM New York saying, "I have been assured that arrests will be made and I will hold the NYPD to it. This must never happen again. Additional units were sent out last night, including drones and helicopters, to prevent this kind of chaos from happening again. So this is where it happened, because I know exactly where this is. I'll go on Google Maps in a bit and open a separate tab. Councilman Wong said that he has been in constant contact with Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch's office about the incident. Over the weekend, skid marks could be seen left burnt into the roadway just outside of the BP gas station where the meetup took place. It's insane that any community would allow people to terrorize their neighborhood like that, one commenter by the name of Jesse wrote in response to the video. A resident named Alan Klong added, "My grandparents live around the corner from this intersection. Hard to believe that this kind of lawless behavior has come to what it used to be a very quiet, safe neighborhood." Yes, that's true, because I know this neighborhood very well. Because again, normally, this is the time of the year, especially yesterday, when Maspeth Federal Savings Bank was holding their annual paper shredding event. Oh my God. Why did they have to put yesterday? Really? That's what gets me so riled up about this whole situation. Councilman Wong stated that his office was inundated, inundated with phone calls to his office complaining about the situation. He has pledged to not put up with this garbage. The councilman has encouraged anybody that if you know something connected to the incidents, please call the NYPD Crime Stoppers unit. Alright, so there you go. What I'm going to do right now is let me pause this and I will come right back and show you where this intersection is. Because I know exactly where this is. Alright, so I'll give you an idea of where this is. So this is technically Middle Village because if you go south of the LIE on 69th Street, this is, right around here, this is where the border of Maspeth and Middle Village is. So this is Maspeth right up here, right? So I know where the post office is on 69th Street. Yeah, because 69th Street goes right to Queens Boulevard over here. But then when you go down over here, 69th Street, and then there's Elliott Avenue, because that's where the Q38 bus goes right to the mall. So, bus goes right here, and then it makes the left on the Woodhaven, and then goes right to the mall in Elmhurst. So I'll show you exactly what this intersection is, because this is kind of disrespectful, okay? What makes me also offended about it is, guess where this is? Yeah, Juniper Valley Park. And why do I know that? Gino's Pizza. Middle Village. Yep, so I knew this was the Middle Village Maspeth area. By heart, I knew exactly where this is. Yep. And by the way, Councilman Wong, I'm very grateful for him for speaking up because he actually used to work for Councilman Bob Holden. So this is the intersection where this happened, right? So here's the BP where they were all meeting up. I mean, look at this. There's residential houses right here. And then right there on Elliott Avenue. I mean, really. Look, more buildings over here. I mean, how would you feel that you got woken up in the middle of the night by these maniacs? And then there's an auto repair shop right here. Like, exactly. I know this area by heart. See? There's Elliott Avenue. Reason why I know this. Look, Q38. Q38 bus. Right here. Right there. So again, I know this area by heart. So believe me, when people say, oh, we're overreacting about this. No, we're not overreacting about this. Because the same thing happened in Whitestone last year. Yeah, we all remembered what happened right before Thanksgiving. Anybody remember what happened in Malba? And anybody remember what happened on November 23rd? This is similar to it. This is similar to it. And it got Vicky Palladino all riled up. Just like how it's getting Phil Wong all riled up. You know? It's disgraceful. This shouldn't be happening. Meanwhile, I know I don't want to make things political. I hate that I have to do this. I really hate that I have to do this, but guess what our mayor was up to yesterday? In New York 1, excuse me there, because I'm still disgusted about it. Look what our mayor's been up to. Look what Mom Dummy's been up to. He's hanging out with Obama. Hey, Mom Dummy, you should have been in Middle Village talking to your freaking constituents, you idiot. Not hanging out with this guy. Sorry, folks. This mayor gets me so riled up. He gets me so disgusted that he's supposed to be a mayor of the people for the quality of life for the city. Not hanging out with Barack Obama. Where do they hang out? Yeah, Manhattan. Oh my God. And then, one more thing I'll bring up about our wonderful mayor. He's endorsing Lindsey Boylan. Remember her? One of the Andrew Cuomo accusers? Oh my God. This doesn't surprise me. And how long does this get?
It's kind of hard to believe when you've seen someone...
Lovely. Lovely. This gets 2 minutes of news coverage. This gets 2 minutes of news coverage. Oh my God. Let me see what happens if I Google Phil Wong on Google News. Let me pause and come right back. All right. So, Channel 7 did cover it last night, and they did a good... In fact, they even interviewed Phil.
It looks like a scene out of a Fast and Furious movie, but it is in Hollywood.
Yeah, here's the story.
Middle Village, Queens, just last night.
Spectators watched on as nearly 100 cars commandeered the intersection of 69th Street and Elliott Avenue, along with drivers doing donuts around a real fire.
Just like what happened in Malba.
Police tell us they were on the scene within a minute to break up the disorderly and downright dangerous scene. They tell us most of the cars drove off, but not before 3 people crushed the window of an NYPD cruiser.
New York City Council member Phil Wong, who represents that part of Queens, told us he is upset tonight. He spoke with...
And trust me, he should be upset. He should be upset. Let me just fast forward it.
The gas station. That's so, idiotic.
The windshield. Detectives spent much of the day looking for clues to track the suspects down, stopping at homes and businesses for surveillance. Community members say they're concerned.
Somebody could hit the shop. They could have crashed into the gas stations.
Councilman Phil Wong's office was flooded with calls. He says he's been in touch with the NYPD.
From what I heard, they ran through some plates and they are fake plates. So they came prepared. They're not occasional meetups. They are planned.
Wong says these car takeovers have targeted other parts of the community, and efforts are underway to see what structural changes can be implemented to deter them.
We're going to work with DOT to see how we put them in. We already have some speed bumps in the district, but not designed for these meetups.
Residents, in the meantime, hope for swift accountability.
This is craziness. This is where people live.
She's right.
To me, an attack on our civility.
And I said, Mom Donnie, where the hell were you? Why were you in Middle Village talking to these people yesterday? You're the mayor, goddammit! So anyhow, folks, it gets me so disgusted that we have to talk about this. But, and I'm sorry for cursing. But when this stuff happens, especially how it happened in November, you knew this was going to happen again. And I'm very scared it could happen in my neighborhood. All right? I'm well scared. And Jim Gennaro this morning was on New York 1, by the way. Oh, we have to talk about saving the environment. Well, believe me, I have a phone call to make with him because they finally took down a dead tree in my neighborhood. That's one of the other things I care about, is the quality of life in my neighborhood. I want a new tree planted. We've had a dead tree, run around my house for a couple years, and, finally, they took it down, but we need a new tree planted. So, I don't want to get into it that much until it's time to talk about it, but, Let's get into the other breaking news this afternoon. Apparently, this got ignored by the media. Apparently, there was a man found dead in a parked minivan. Where did this happen? Long Island City. Yep. This occurred 10:10 a.m. this morning. This should be a breaking news story on NY1, unless maybe they're going to update it later. Okay, so Good Samaritan was walking around the area. A man of unknown age was found dead inside a Toyota Sienna minivan in Long Island City, near the corner of 22nd Street and Queens Plaza North in Long Island City, at around 10:10 this morning. The witness dialed 911, and when officers from the 114th precinct arrived, they smashed the vehicle's window in order to remove the individual. Sadly, he was rushed to EMS Cornell. Deceased is conscious. Oh, wait a minute. So he's alive still. Okay, that's the good news. Sources familiar with the incident report that the man is being uncooperative and won't tell the 114 detectives exactly what happened. He may have been involved in a scrap. Oh, that's not good. An altercation, basically. Blood could be seen smeared over the driver's seat and door, and across the sidewalk in several white blankets. Blood even appeared to have been dripped out of the car and onto the pavement. Sneakers and objects were also scattered around the ground. Inside the vehicle, more blood covered in white towels could be observed. Yeah, that's not good. I mean, there could be a lot of possibilities. Could have this been an attempted carjacking? Yeah, look, the car hood got smashed. This might have been an attempted robbery. You never know. And if somebody knows something, that would really help the 114 out. So, if you know something, call the 114 directly, because they will be able to handle this. Don't call Crime Stoppers in this case, because what's Crime Stoppers going to do? The 114 detectives need help. God, man. They've been... I got to say this. For the 114 detectives this weekend, because I think somebody from the 114 was actually at the at the Middle Village thing. You got to give these guys credit. They've had a very busy weekend. They're so overwhelmed, and now this. So hopefully NY1 may cover this, but we don't know. Okay. Other stuff that we'll quickly get into here. Yes, there was a shooting at a funeral. Yes, it's actually happened. This occurred back on... let me just confirm this. Yeah, I think it happened on Wednesday. Yeah. Oh, last Friday. Okay, yeah. I remember when this happened last week. It was April 10th. This was outside the Greater Allen AME Cathedral Church in Jamaica. Yes, so this occurred right near Merrick Boulevard. Richard Carter of South Cottage Street and Valley Stream was shot multiple times in the torso at Merrick Boulevard and Sayers Avenue. So, sadly, victim was taken in Jamaica Hospital, deceased. Freedom News TV reported that the triggerman fled the scene on a bike. So, city bike was used in this. Wow. Multiple reports say that Mr. Carter was at the church attending a funeral just before the shooting. In fact, Channel 7 even covered this. Yeah, see, Channel 7's been hit or miss on certain stories. I mean, they did a good job covering this. I don't want to play the video right now, but... yeah, there was an eyewitness who was a hearse driver. And then, I don't know if this has anything to do with the shooting that occurred at Eisenhower Park, but this might. So let's go into a timeline. So there was a shooting at Eisenhower Park on Wednesday, right? 15-year-old kid shot. And then the day after, April 16th, another 15-year-old kid was shot. This happened at Roy Wilkins Park in St. Albans, 6:15 p.m. Now remember, the weather was very warm, so that might have been a factor into this. These social media meetups. Jaden Pierre of 103rd Avenue in South Richmond Hill found dead. I mean, the police really need to figure... Trust me, the police in Nassau County really need to work with the NYPD to figure out if this is connected. Because this may be connected. You know, it may be connected. Yeah, see that? The NCPD may need to get involved in this. So if anybody in Nassau County or anywhere here in Queens, you know these guys, say something. Because they may know something about the shooting in Eisenhower Park as well. All right, couple more here. Yeah, we have about 4 more. Okay, there was an attempted robbery at the Key Food in Briarwood. Yes, so I know exactly where this is. Not too far from the train station over there where Transit District 20 is. Okay, so according to this, the 107 precinct are looking for a burglar, this guy right here, who broke into an unoccupied truck, commercial vehicle, Key Food at 138-37 Queens Boulevard in Briarwood, just before 9 a.m. back on Thursday, April 9th. According to detectives from the 107 precinct, a 23-year-old male driver was making a food delivery inside. Police say the perpetrator took the victim's wallet from the cab and made an unauthorized transaction on the victim's bank cards. According to this, the money withdrawn from the bank cards and the cash in the stolen wallet have not been yet determined. No injuries. So here you go. Looks like he may have been inside the Key Food making a transaction. So, I just want to look at my precinct because remember, I live in the 107. So let me read this. Through April 12th, crime stats have determined that the 107 precinct has reported 43 burglaries so far this calendar year, 33 fewer than the 76 reported at the same point last year. 43.4% decrease. I don't know if the cold weather has anything to do with it, but remember, there was an attempted car robbery in Jamaica Estates a couple months back, and Channel 7 actually covered that one. So anyhow, let's see what else we got here. We had a stabbing in Astoria. Well, here we go. So, according to an investigation occurring on March 2nd at around 4:20 p.m., Antonio Quiones, in fact, they actually have his picture. All right, doesn't say. I thought we had his picture. I guess not. Mr. Quiones was inside the Broadway Deli and Grill, Newton Road in Astoria. I think I know exactly where this is, come to think of it. Not too far from Northern Boulevard. About a block away from his home at 50-54 Broadway, he began arguing with another patron and stepped on the man's shoe. The defendant and the customer took it outside where there was heated argument. Mr. Quiones kicked the man's motorized scooter, which was parked outside the fish market next door, threw a cup of coffee on it. Mr. Quiones allegedly pulled out a box cutter and swung it at the victim several times. The blade swings pierced the victim's jacket on the blood and sleeves. The victim pushed Quiones away and rode off in his scooter. Mr. Quiones began to arguably brief with a second victim, a 29-year-old woman, and slashed her twice across the face with a box cutter. Mr. Quiones ran off towards the Woodside houses. He was apprehended a short while later by police from the 114th precinct. they found the wounded woman who sustained a deep gash to her face and considerable pain. The victim was taken to Elmhurst Hospital where she was in stable condition and then later released. So, yes, 54-year-old man and a 29-year-old woman, according to a statement issued by Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz. A grand jury has now returned serious charges against the defendant. He would face up to 25 years in prison if convicted. Quinones pleaded not guilty at his arraignment before Queens Supreme Court Justice Semino on Queens Boulevard in Kew Gardens, who set bail on a $150,000 cash and $300,000 bond and ordered Mr. Quinones to return to court on June 9th. So, guess they're probably keeping him at Rikers? I would think, Well, it is possible. So we'll have to see how this goes in June. Okay, so here is the indictment. Assault in the first degree, assault in the second degree, attempted assault in the second degree, and criminal possession of a weapon. So that's the situation. Okay, 2 more stories, and then we'll wrap it up here. So it says here that a homeless woman was arrested in Maspeth back on Monday, April 13th, for setting 3 fires at 3 locations in the neighborhood just south of the LIE. Shaniqua Fort was taken into custody and booked at the 104th Precinct just before 10 p.m. and she was charged with arson, attempted murder, and other crimes less than an hour after she set her first fire at a Chinese restaurant. Oh, wow. I mean, look at this. First fire. Look at this. This actually happened on Monday. Wow. I mean, this didn't get any media coverage. This should have gotten a lot of media coverage, but it didn't. All right. There was a Chinese restaurant fire, 888 Kitchen at 60-92 Flushing Avenue. 21 units, 79 firefighters and EMS. Yes, so it looks like a 27-year-old woman and a 26-year-old man were trapped in a second-floor apartment. The man was injured, punched out a window to escape, and the woman was hurt when she jumped to the sidewalk below the apartment window. Okay, it says here that both victims were taken to Elmhurst Hospital, where they were listed in stable condition. Third person refused medical attention, while 1 firefighter sustained moderate injuries and was transported to a hospital. And then look at this. There was another fire, D'Angelo Funeral Home, 4 blocks away at 64-18 Flushing Avenue. And another fire, Maspeth Jewish Center, 66-64 Grand Avenue. I mean, seriously, what the hell is going on in northwestern Queens lately? I mean, there's so much crime going on over there lately. It's crazy. Oh, boy. And then, look, they found her at the Jewish Center. She was additionally charged with petite larceny and criminal mischief. She will be later arraigned at Queens Criminal Court on Kew Gardens in Kew Gardens on Queens Boulevard. Up, and look what we were just talking about. We were just talking about him, Councilman Philip Wong. I was on scene last night with a member of my staff and these incidents unfolded, and I appreciate the response of the 104th Precinct in apprehending the individual involved. Incidents like this underscore the need for a stronger police presence in our neighborhood and a serious coordinated approach to addressing individuals who are emotionally disturbed and living in our streets. We have to ensure our communities are safe, and we're also making sure the crisis that the intervention and support that they need. So, yep. And then one more we will read. Ozone Park. Armed robber suspect allegedly pistol whipped a worker at a cell phone store. $25,000 in cash and merchandise were stolen. This happened on Friday, April 10th. It's occurred at 7:30 p.m. last Friday at the Metro by T-Mobile store at 96-21 Rockaway Boulevard, 3 blocks east of Woodhaven Boulevard. The suspect approached the 32-year-old male worker who was working behind the counter, pulled out a handgun, and struck the employee in the head multiple times, and took about $4,000 from the cash register, along with 29 cell phones valued at $21,000, which included iPhones and Androids. The gunman exited the store on the Rockaway Boulevard and ran off westbound before turning south on the Cross Bay Boulevard. Yep, I knew exactly where this was. I was like, wait a minute. Whoa, 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 whoa. Q52, Q53 bus goes right in that area. Yep, called it. I knew it. EMS responded to the location and treated the victim at the crime scene for lacerations and bruising to his head, according to a law enforcement source familiar with the investigation. So, anybody knows something, you know what to do. Here's a good look. And look at this. He had a face mask on. See, this is what I will agree with the Nassau County. I was hesitant about it at first, and I'm glad Blakeman does this. But guess what? You commit a robbery in Nassau County in your face mask? Ooh, boy. You know they're going to throw the book at you. So, just saying, this happened in Nassau, this guy would be in a lot more trouble. He's already in more trouble, but you get the idea. Alright. That's pretty much it. I mean, I am just disgusted. I'm just like, oh. Now let's see if NY1 has even updated their website. Let me just quickly look before we wrap this up. Nope. Still the same garbage. In fact, hang on. I don't even think they've updated their headlines. Yeah, look at this.
I'm Dean Meminger with
Oh my God. Yeah, here it is.
Residents in Middle Village, Queens, calling for a crackdown after drag races take over their neighborhood. They say the overnight chaos is a safety threat. The NYPD still searching for the teen they say shot and killed a 15-year-old boy at Roy Wilkins Park in Queens. Video circulating online shows a crowd of teens watching as the victim was beat up before he was shot. Former President Barack Obama
Oh my
and Mayor
God.
Adani spent some time with a group of pre-K and 3K students in the South Bronx. This marked the first time that these annual Persian Day dedicated to the Iranian. And the Knicks opened strong in their...
Yeah, so that was from last night. At least Dean Meminger brought it up on the air. Just like how Rocco Berduccio did. Oh, in fact, here it is right now on the live feed.
Intersection of Elliott
Here it
Avenue and
is.
69th Street.
Here it is.
And cars drifting around it. Middle Village residents say loud music and the sound of...
Here's the actual live report right now, believe it or not. Why don't you update your freaking website, Spectrum?
Fuck me up? Oh, I thought it was horrible. It was
Yeah, here it is right here.
It's disgusting. I couldn't believe it. It was shocking, really.
I never heard anything like that. Normally you hear like the train going by, like, or the odd car going off here and there, but you never hear that level of screeching.
A car meetup causing commotion in the neighborhood on a Middle Village.
So apparently I can't show you this way. I can show you the tiny screen this way, it looks like. I can't even show you that. Oh, wow. Okay, well, my screen recorder is not even working.
3 unidentified individuals jumped onto the hood of a marked police vehicle, cracking the windshield before fleeing. Paulette Siegel, who lives on Elliott Avenue, says she's horrified by the disregard.
Yeah, hang on. I'm just trying to put it back. That's the resident they were just talking to.
Additional units were brought in to help deter reckless driving. That's when a motorist issued a summons for blocking a crosswalk. Many are concerned there could be more of this behavior as the weather gets warmer.
Exactly.
City Council member Phil Wong, who represents that
Thank you,
district,
Philip Wong.
wrote in a statement Saturday evening that he's been assured arrests will be made and he plans to hold the NYPD to it. He added, "I appreciate the work our cops do, but they need backing from elected officials, district attorneys, and judges. Too often when they take action, they're second-guessed, or you see elected officials and activists calling for them to be fired instead of supported." That has to change if we are serious about protecting our quality of life. Jay Delgado,
Exactly.
who lives a few blocks
Thank
away,
you, Phil.
says Middle
Thank
Village
you.
is a safe area, and this incident ruins that perception.
Even in the safest areas, you always got to be careful. You got to look where you're going. You got to pay attention to what's around you. So stuff like this can happen.
Councilmember Wong says additional security, including drones and helicopters, will be monitoring the area to make sure this doesn't happen again. Police say there were no reported injuries and an investigation remains ongoing. In Queens, Emma Barnett, New York 1.
Mayor Mamdani says that he and President Trump have a
Oh,
good
God.
relationship, even at...
And they probably don't even have the updated headline about what happened. Yeah, the Middle Village thing got a thing, but nothing about the man found in his car in Astoria. Now, if he was found dead, then maybe it might get more covered. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. But let me show you the man that we need to thank. Phil Wonk. Okay? Phil Wonk. This is the man that we need to thank. All right? This is him. Thank you, Phil. And I want to thank him. He's speaking up for his community. All right? Because he represents Middle Village, Maspeth, Elmhurst, Ridgewood, Glendale, and Regal Park. So I'm going to leave his phone number. If you live in any of these neighborhoods and you're dealing with this problem, and again, look up who your city council member is. Because God forbid this happened in my neighborhood and we have problems like this. You know, I'm going to have to call Jim Gennaro. That's my councilman who represents District 24. That's who represents us west of 188th Street. Talks about environmentalism. Give me a break. I'm going to hold him accountable to it for getting a new tree planted right outside my house. I can't have a vacant tree area outside my house. So we're going to have to do a video about it on Earth Day. Because, you know, it's something that we need to bring up on my street. Not going to say what street I'm on, but we may have to do a video on it. Because Earth Day is coming up on Wednesday, all right? And I do care about our environment. You know, more trees create more oxygen. So, again, Phil, thank you. And I really like what you're doing right now. You need to speak up for your community. You know, that's the bottom line. So, I'm glad that Rob Holden found a very good successor. Because this guy does a good job. He does a very good job, okay? So, he talked about a homeless shelter being built in his district. So, again, gotta keep an eye on this guy. Because I think him and Julie Menon are doing a very good job holding Mamdani tongue-in-cheek. In fact, I'll show you who the city council speaker is to wrap this up. Because I think she's doing a good job as well. This lady right here, Julie Menon. Now, I know she's from Manhattan, but, I mean, Mom Dummy should not be raising property taxes. I'm sorry. You know? I mean, her constituents own properties. If property taxes go up and the landlords have to raise the rent because of it, you know, and then a Pierre de Bois tax. I mean, really? I get people have a second home, but they worked hard to earn that second home. I'm just going to show you who I'm mad at. Okay? Not at this idiot. This is our dum-dum of a mayor that we have right now, allowing this to happen. So I'm done, folks. You know, I'm just done. I'm just beyond disgusted. And, you know, that's where I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you for watching. May God have mercy on our souls right now, because this is the nightmare that we're dealing with. And if you live in northwestern Queens, I pray for your safety right now. You shouldn't have to be dealing with this nonsense. Even though Mom Dummy is from Astoria, I think, or Long Island City. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Stay safe out there. Be alert of any crime that you see, and see something, say something, especially now that we are approaching the 25th anniversary of the 9/11 terror attacks. So, till the next one, take care.